Hey guys, it's quote unquote your boy, Ballface 8020, back again with another great response video. This video, we're responding to Rollo talking about why Ethan from the H3 podcast doesn't want to debate him. We're starting a little bit into the video. Basically, this all started because Myron wanted Rollo to come with Myron on Ethan's podcast. And then here's what so Rollo's talking about how he would like the chance to do that, or that was his thinking, was that he would like the chance to do that. And then here's him telling the rest of the story.
I'm Rollo, because I'm a white guy, I can only go certain places. And because Myron is Myron, and he's a red pill guy, and he's in the black manosphere, he's going to get calls from people that I'm not going to get. And vice versa, I should say. So it's not a race thing. It's just, those are our spheres. That's where we run. Mike Rashid is not going to call Rollo Tomasi, but Myron Gaines is going to go on his show and pretty much talk about the same thing I would have talked about anyway. So that's fine. Then, Myron and Fresh are going to get the call to go on Flagrant. They're going to get the call to go on Tim Pool. I think we're still waiting on that Rogan phone call.
So, this is what we talked about. Or I guess I was talking about in my earlier recording with just the incredible level of narcissism here. Now, viewers reached out to me and pointed out to me that Rollo actually has a mental illness. You're not supposed to diagnose people like if you haven't actually met them. Especially if you're not even a psychiatrist. But he was showing me the symptoms of, I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of something called like schizotypal or something, like not schizophrenic, but it's like, I guess adjacent to it. It's much more high functioning. And he was telling me, he was reading off the symptoms of it. And it was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Rollo. So it's not, maybe not be too nice to pick on Rollo about this, and initially said I was going to delete my Rollo videos and not make any more content about him. But at the end of the day, he's high functioning. He's never going to hear about it. And he still is making, public content. So, we can talk about it as long as it's understood that it's really just having fun. It's not meant to be nasty or hurtful. Again, he would, even if he ever found out who I was, he wouldn't care. He would apply some like weird thing about how my masculinity is. I don't even know what he would say. I know he wouldn't be bothered. That's the good thing about criticizing people like Rollo and Casey, is they're so convinced of their own awesomeness that nothing you say can ever hurt them. So maybe there's a lesson to be learned in there. I don't know. So yeah, though, but anyway, what I was going to say though was that like Rollo is just like so deludedly narcissistic. He's talking about Rollo is talking about himself and Myron like they're equals, like they're even relevant, like they're on the same area of relevancy. It's like Rollo had maybe a tiny bit of relevancy in the early 10s, in a very narrow sphere. Myron is not just the biggest guy in the manosphere, but which Rollo never was, even in his prime. And I keep in mind, manosphere is bigger now, but Myron is like borderline mainstream. I know guys who are in like good marriages with kids who listen to Myron. Now, not religiously, and they don't take it too seriously, but they'll like listen to Myron clips. Myron has made it. He's the real deal. Rollo is just, a nobody. And I'm not saying it is even as an insult, because, whatever. Honestly, I would rather be Rollo than Myron, because I'd rather be less famous for spreading nonsense than more famous. And believe it or not, I actually think Myron is more cringe than Rollo. But having said that, like the implication here is that like he's saying like, oh, well, Myron's a black dude, so they're going to have black podcasters on. But whereas like, me being white, there are certain guys who aren't going to call me. And it's like, dude, it's got nothing to do with your race, man. It's the white people aren't going to call you on either, because because you're just not relevant. You're not relevant. So I don't. And Myron is, and that's that. I mean, it would be like, I mean, you might as well start calling me on podcast if you want to say, like, that's about how relevant you are.
Call me Joe. And so there's places.
Oh no, Joe's not going to call you. Come on, man. He's got the biggest podcast in the world. Are you serious? Come on now.
For instance, I went on Patrick Bet David. I went on Adam Sosnick, and so did Myron and Fresh. Right? We weren't there together, but we were there, individually. And I'm always happy to cross-pollinate. I'm always happy to say, hey, here's a network. Here's a guy. Talk to this dude. I brought Adam Sosnick into the studio on the Tuesday. I did the Patrick Bet David show just because it happened to be convenient. And he lives in Brickell. Not Brickell.
Dude, I don't care.
And it worked out, and they hit it off, and as I knew they would. And then a week later, they went on Adam's show, and that was fantastic. I thought it was a really great show. In fact,
dude, I kind of like Myron. Like I've seen enough of him that I kind of like Myron, and I can't imagine like a bigger insult to somebody than to say that, hey, I wanted this guy to meet Myron because I knew that you guys would get along. It's like if somebody said that to me, I would be like, wow, man, you really don't think much of me, do you? So that's pretty fucking weird.
In fact, I thought it was one of the best interviews or best talk show I had ever seen Myron and Fresh on, because they weren't on the back foot. They weren't in there to go they weren't like a prize fight. I'll go in the ring and start duking it out. Like, it was just like, here, let's have a conversation. And I think Adam's a really good interviewer, and he's a really good personality when it comes to podcasts and stuff. But that's the deal, right? Well, when we get the call from
anyway, sorry about the shitty editing in this one. I'm gonna try to edit some stuff out in the actual editing process, but I'm using a new software because my other computer died on me. So hopefully this will be a little. So yeah, this is going to be a little awkward, I think.
Or when Myron, anyways, gets the call from H3 and Ethan Klein. Things are a little bit different. And by different, I mean in this, let's see if I can grab that. Where did it go? Is it? Why, yes, it is. Here we go. Oh, damn it. Hang on. It's the wrong codec. I wonder if I can just throw this up there. Anyway, yeah, let me see. Maybe you can you only need to hear this anyway. So let's see.
So we need to have Rollo Tomasi on. I call him Rollo Tony Browntown because of that Tim and Eric song.
Can you guys hear that? I think so.
She said it will just be predominantly Myron. Is that the main guy?
Which one's Myron?
Which one's Myron?
I just know him as Fresh and Fit.
Yeah,
Myron, I believe. Yeah, he's the main guy.
He's not Coconuts in Barbados.
He's not. No, he's the other guy. Myron Gaines.
Gaines. It'll be predominantly Myron and Rollo doing the talking. We think it will make for a good discussion between Ethan and his son. So he's once again icing out his dumbass partner, who I keep being like, why is this guy even hosting a show? His brain barely operates. Dude's talking about coconuts in Barbados. And now when it comes to debating us 2-on-2, our show, The Leftovers, versus their show, Fred.
Yeah, I've kind of wondered about it too. The other guy is actually, I mean, he is kind of a good co-host because he doesn't try to force himself into the conversation. But you do sometimes have to wonder why he's there. Myron is cringe, but the other guy is seems like a normal dude. I don't know if they're saying that he's a dumbass. Maybe he is. To me, he's just like a bump on a log. He just doesn't talk. But when he does contribute, at least doesn't seem like it makes the show any worse, which is more than you can say for a lot of co-hosts. But yeah, of course, Myron wouldn't want him on the podcast because the guy wouldn't really be able to back him up. And Myron is, an insecure guy and doesn't like to be caught off by himself. Whereas he can kind of take a second in command. I mean, I don't know what you would call him, more of an assistant role with Rollo. And Rollo's probably better at that stuff, like dealing with hostile interviewers, because Rollo is, this is making me think that I don't know if Myron really believes this shit or not. I think he does. But Rollo is takes the intellectualness of it like very seriously. And so yeah, Rollo's better to do it, and then Myron can kind of like be like on the side and be sort of the wingman. I think that's a better role for Myron, despite the fact that he's the host of the biggest Manosphere podcast. But if he's actually going to be like debating guys who are hostile to him and not just bullying 22-year-old girls, like who are airheads in Miami, yeah, he's better off. He's better off, working behind Rollo. Well, I mean, it's strange for me because I had always thought that Myron didn't really respect Rollo at all. That he thought that Rollo was just some weird boomer who he kind of used for clout and didn't really need him anymore. And but and I don't know like how much that's true or not, but him saying that he wants Rollo to be on the show with him tells me that he does have some kind of respect for Rollo. He does kind of take him seriously, which is great. I mean, I don't know. It's just hard for me to understand because usually, I mean, you're always going to have people who you disagree with, and if you have right-wing politics, you're usually going to be able to understand those people, just because they've shown that right-wingers understand their political opponents, unlike liberals who don't. And so if you have right-wing politics, you'll understand people who disagree with you, even if it's an apolitical thing. But I don't understand really, like why would somebody like Myron have respect or look up to somebody like Rollo? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Fresh and fit. He's icing out his homie again in favor of this guy, Rollo Tony, who we did some ops on. Apparently, he's like the quote father of Red Pill.
Sick.
The problem is, I don't know anything about Rollo Tony, and I just don't care about him. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to talk to Rollo Tony. I want to talk to Fresh and Fit. They're the guys.
It's just so absurd.
Rollo
Come on,
Tony, Brown Town. You got to give me some more.
See, this is the kind of shit I hate about podcasts. That's why I really don't listen to any podcast. The only podcast I ever listened to and enjoyed was the first season of Serial. That was great. But this kind of shit, like of them like getting around and just being like talking about nothing, and then he was singing some song that I'd never heard of. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's just a bunch of fucking filler. And it's just like, dude, just talk about the fucking subject. I don't want to listen to you spurg and just like word vomit, Like, why do you think anybody wants to listen to that? I guess because some people do, but that's bullshit too. Say like, well, people are enjoying it. So the fuck what? I don't enjoy it. And I don't enjoy it because it's fucking garbage. Now, if you want to, you can make stuff that like, I don't expect people to make everything that they make that's something that I like. You'd be talking about classical music. I'm not going to be interested in that, but there'll at least be some substance there. There was no substance in that thing he just said. Like he could have just stopped it at, Rollo Tomasi is a nobody, so I don't want to do it. But instead he starts like, they started like, there was that dead air where they were just laughing. And then he starts just saying this song, and that's funny. Why is that funny? It's not. It's fucking stupid. Dude, Taylor the Fiend could make a funnier joke than that. That's bullshit. Fuck that.
Oh, I don't know why I always love that song.
Great.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Tim and Eric made a pitch to Rollo's as a bit. Rollo, Tony, Brown Town.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Give me some more of those Rollos. I passed this along to Ian. Wait, so I told Ian to tell him, if you don't want to debate, just say so. Because it's like, how many conditions? Just call into the fucking show. I think he would prefer to have a discussion with just you two, since that was the clip that you two started. Yeah, 2 versus 2. We are happy to debate. By the way, and this is the guy who just last week was like, stop ducking me, bro. Have some.
All right, so this is the dude, right? Now, I get it. I get his brand, right?
Well, let's just talk about the substance of what he's saying. Ethan is saying, look, I don't know who this Rollo guy is. I want you and Fresh on, because that's who this is all about. If we're going to talk, let's talk us. And He has no idea really why Ethan doesn't really know much about Rollo, so he doesn't really understand why Myron wants him on. Myron wants him on because Myron wants Rollo to take the lead with Myron playing a wingman role. If Fresh is on with him, then it's not even saying that Fresh is an idiot. I don't know if he is or isn't. I mean, maybe he is. That's what it sounds like. But it's that Fresh is not a take the lead guy. He's a real background character. So essentially, he doesn't want a situation. Fresh doesn't want a situation who's Fresh is tough, struggles to deal with pressure anyway, especially with somebody like Ethan, who Ethan's not brilliant or anything, but he's smarter than Fresh, and he doesn't want a situation where it's Ethan plus Ethan's wingman, basically just against Myron. Was I saying Fresh? Well, Fresh just sits there and says nothing like he always does. So I mean, I'm not sure Ethan totally understands what's going on. I think Ethan has a good point, about there not being like about conditions. He's like, look, this Rollo guy's not relevant. Let's just have you two. But Ethan himself has basically said that Fresh already isn't relevant. So in that case, I think that Ethan, if he really did want to have this debate, should have conceded to having Rollo on. I think that the reason that Ethan really didn't want to do it is because, like I said, he just doesn't care about Rollo and just doesn't want to deal with it. So that's what I think. Yeah, I could go either way on this. Actually, I'm going to have to say I'm kind of more on Ethan's side.
Right, I get why he's doing what he's doing. I just sort of this fat.
I don't. Go ahead. Go explain it.
Obnoxious, piece of shit. That I don't know. A lot of these guys. There's a lot of dudes that.
Why are you, who's by the way friends with Myron, calling somebody a piece of shit? Like, I agree with you about Ethan. I don't know if I would call him a piece of shit. He's more like annoying. I don't know if piece of shit is the right thing to say, but I see where you're going with that. But to talk about, stones and glass houses, it was like when Zelensky, like I was talking about before, when Zelensky was calling Fit Perry a manlet. It was like, Zelensky, you're 5'7", so glass houses and stones.
Is that Jordan Peterson on his desk right now? There's a lot of dudes that sort of fumble into their niche, and I get the feeling that that's where Ethan is at now. I think so. What'd you say? Wait. Let me back up a little bit, because Infamous Rifle asked me. He said, "Isn't he the dude that said he was like in better shape?"
Rollo's teeth kind of remind me of the teeth of the guy who played Pinhead in Hellraiser. I'm not autistic, but that is probably the most autistic thing I'll ever say to notice. You guys can go look it up if you maybe I'm off base. I don't know.
Shape than Joe Rogan. All right. Well, I can guarantee you this: if I at 53 years old had a pose down with Ethan, I can guarantee you I am in better shape than you are, Ethan.
I mean, what a weird flex. First of all, Ethan's probably almost your age. Second of all, I mean, like, dude, you wouldn't even need to do a pose down. It's just like I could tell just from like you with your baggy shirt and him with his baggy shirt that you're in better shape than him. So what does this have to do with Joe Rogan and him being in better shape? If Ethan was saying that he was in better shape than Joe Rogan, he was joking. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
But who the fuck am I to this guy? Like, where the fuck did this come from? I had no idea who this dude.
Who the fuck are you? You're the one who Myron brought up. And he's saying I don't want you on the show because you're a fucking nobody, and I only want to talk to Myron and Fresh.
It even was until then. Now, here's the other thing: is like Ethan. Really, I'm going to read something here. Like this was the only tweet I've ever was ever aware of that Ethan threw at anyone. Is that how is fleece? Okay, so he's coming at. He was coming at Michaela Peterson, who, by the way, has blocked me, so I can't read you the full thing. But he was like, "How is fleecing your father's fandom going? $100 per month for the Lion Club, teaching people that eating only meat cures all ailments. Must have been nice to be posting cute selfies from your father's social media accounts while he nearly died." I'm like, when I read that, I was like, maybe he actually watched. Maybe he knows who I am, and he's just bullshitting because
I mean, how delusional do you have to be? Everybody fucking knew that. Everybody in the world knew that. I knew that. Everybody knew that, like, with all that old stuff. We didn't. Now, it was granted, it was when she was interviewing you that she finally revealed her side of the story. But like, everybody was talking about that. The whole reason you even mentioned, you said you did a thumbnail and a title about it because you knew it was such big news that you wanted to drive traffic to yourself by using it. And now you're thinking that Ethan heard about the Jordan Peterson shit and when stuff with his daughter from you? From something everybody in the country knew about? I mean, and it would be one thing if he was joking here, but he's clearly being serious.
because that's what I was talking about really since November all the way to now even.
Yeah, and there was people talking about it way before you. What the fuck, man?
So, what did you say? He's proof that brainwashing works? Yeah. What are you afraid of, Ian? I'll be happy to debate you. I won't bite, right? Like what? So whether it's fresh or it's not, here's the reason. I want to explain to you why this dude is. Actually, before I do that, I have to show you this. This is really good. Now, I'm gonna put this on there real fast, just so people know what here's a frame of reference in all of this. Now, this was from the H3 podcast, or this is a little bit of correspondence. Since they already posted this, by the way, I didn't post this. This was already on their podcast, the most recent podcast of H3. They put this up there, so I'm not selling anybody out. They've already done this. It's already been put out. Okay. So how do we know? How do we know he won't bring someone else on like Crowder? You're really that worried about Steven Crowder? I don't even know. I don't have any contact with Steven Crowder. He doesn't even know my name, man. H3 Podcast Freshman said, how do you know we won't bring someone like Crowder? Who is he afraid of? I never promised Crowder I wouldn't. Tell him I am promising. You guys have been critical of the Red Pill and Fresh and Fit / Rollo are the biggest creators in the space. Well, at least thank you for acknowledging that. It will be a great discussion and we'll get a lot of views instantly. I think that's the other side of the conversation. He says, okay, we'll think on it. Okay, no problem. I'll pass this on to Myron and Fresh tomorrow. Then Ethan comes out. Ethan wanted me to say that he's doing a hard pass on Rollo. Why? But why? So just let us know if you're up for Fresh and Fit versus Ethan and Hassan. So that pretty much confirmed.
Okay, well, so I'm thinking, why? I mean, I guess it's a fair question. It is a fair question. Like he's saying, he's a hard pass. Look, why? I mean, it's Ethan's show. He can do whatever he wants, but why? Why are you said you do want to have Myron on, but you're not saying no with Rollo? And I think the why is probably because I can think of two reasons. One is just Ethan was like, no. Ethan was like, no. I offered it to Myron and Fresh. That's who it's about. It's either them or nobody. That's probably the most likely. Is it had nothing to do with Rollo whatsoever. Is he was just like, he doesn't want these bullshit conditions. You know how prideful the content creators are about their shows. And he's saying, I mean, he's not bringing on some guy who I don't even know. We're not like, it's my show, not his. This is how we're doing it. If he's down, great. If he's not, okay, that's okay too. But we're not bringing on some rando. That's what it's most likely. The other is that he looked up Rollo and was like, this is not going to be good content. I don't want to listen to this idiot Spurg. He's going to dominate the conversation. My listeners aren't going to like it. I'm not going to enjoy it. Both of those are totally legit reasons. So those are the two. It's one of those two things. Let's see if Rollo gets that right. Because Rollo's asking the question. He's going to answer it now, presumably.
Confirms everything that they were just talking about a minute ago. And my only question is, what are you afraid of?
He's not afraid of anything, man. It was. If anything, you saw that text conversation, right? It's pretty obvious. It's Myron who's afraid. No, Ethan's not afraid of anything. I just told you why. Did you not listen to what I just said? I just told you why Ethan didn't want you on the show.
Why? I'll be happy to. I'll fly down there on my own dime. You don't have to put me up. I'll go down there. Where are you at? LA? San Diego? Forget where he is. He said Southern California. I don't know exactly where. It's okay. I'm from Southern California. I'll be happy to go down. I'll drive down there.
Oh, that explains the hair, all right.
I'll go to Catalina while I'm out there too. I'll make a weekend of it. What are you afraid of? No, you know what you're afraid of is because they want Fresh and Fit on there because they know Fresh is not Rollo Tomasi. I love you, Fresh. I really do. I do. But Fresh is not me. And I love Fresh. You know that.
No. Because here's the thing, man. Fresh is part of the biggest manosphere biggest red pill, biggest manosphere podcast in the world. You aren't. Fresh is young and relevant. Yeah, I know, not really young, but what are they, 30 years old? And you're like, no hate, I'm an old man too. Nothing wrong with being old. If anything, it's the reverse. With age, I want to say with age comes wisdom. That's not necessarily true. But with age comes, I don't know, age. You say like, even if you're the biggest retard, you still were there, right? You still got older. You made it. There's other people who didn't. So I've always said, you got to respect the elderly. And I'm not saying he's elderly. I'm not elderly, but we're older. And as you get older, there are certain cultures or subcultures. I'm not using culture as a synonym for race or as a euphemism for race. I mean cultures like red pill culture, podcast culture and stuff, where you're going to kind of age out. And you're kind of the old man in this like whole red pill community. That's a big part of it. And so, you may have more to say about the subject, but you're not even a tenth as relevant as Fresh, who never opens his mouth. That's why they want him on the show. And then the other reason is that they've listened to you and were like, oh, this lunatic, I don't want him on. That's it. That's as deep as it goes. That's all any reasonable person could think.
I talked about, if you saw my most recent Clips channel, I talked about like how Fresh talked about like owning a woman's soul. And I made a specific point to talk about that when I was on my last interview with Fresh and Fit. And I knew it was going to be fun. I knew it was going to be like sort of a little slightly controversial, I guess. But like Fresh will say things, and I know where he's coming from. I tried to make this clear in that clip. I know where he's coming from, and he starts talking about like owning a woman's soul when Abba is on the show with him, and that's kind of one of the things that set off all that bullshit that happened in August. And so I wanted to sort of say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't mean that everybody else is going to get it. And they're going to take that shit and they're going to run with it. They're looking for those viral moments.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what a guy like Ethan, whatever the fuck his name is, looks for. In fact, that's the new. As I was saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna kind of have to like backtrack a little and concede there, but I do think that's true. What he just said there was true.
Before,
because that's what it is. That's what it is, in our like short attention span, outrage based culture. Like, I mean, you want a viral moment, right? It's like if you ever go to, I don't know if you guys who aren't in America, I don't know if you have this, but like if you're American, you can go to see like not necessarily, you can go see congressional committees too, but you can see stuff like where a senator or some shit is at a conference talking to some guys about stuff, and it's all public and stuff, and you'll think like, dude, why is the senator being such a dick? Like, because like, and the reason is because he's looking for a soundbite. He's looking for a soundbite, and this was before everything going viral. I'm talking about in the 90s and stuff, 90s and early aughts when I first saw this stuff. It's kind of a long story because I had an internship that involved this, and I was like, dude, what's this shit all about? Why is the senator being such a prick? And it's like he's looking for a soundbite. He wants something that a clip that they're gonna play on the radio or play on the news. And so now you're just seeing a bigger version of that with wanting to say stuff or take stuff that's going to go viral. So yeah, I mean, I do think I do think that that's a reason Ethan wanted him on, because he knows he's going to get shit like that. Yeah, or wants to get some. I think that's true. I just don't think that that's the main reason.
It's a great, fantastic dovetail right here. This is exactly what I was talking about when I said the perception is all that people care about. So
yeah, nobody's ever made that point again. You fucking idiot.
When I was talking about DJ academics back in the day, a few weeks ago, now I sort of backed up off of that, but when I was talking about that, that's what I was saying. Say, look for that viral moment, right? The problem I had was not necessarily with DJ academics. It's the fact that he took those clips and made his boys look like idiots for 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is the reason why I drew attention to that is because that's exactly what Michaela Peterson did with me when my show came out, or when she decided that she was going to put my show out, because those clips came out simultaneously with when she published the full episode of that show.
Well, I mean, I saw the show in context. So, like, I don't know, man, if anybody like it has access to these links he's talking about. If you had them, maybe you wanted to post some in the comments so we can see. Um, the show. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that would look good for you, even in context. The only thing that I really remember looking bad out of context was the thing where she's getting on you about you comparing her to Casey Anthony, and you do kind of come off as kind of an idiot there, like in your thing, and that was sort of taken out of context. I agree, but I mean, you also did it. I mean, I don't know if it was even necessarily so much that it was out of context as it was just one of your weaker moments in the debate, because she was like really on her high horse and you were kind of, I don't know if defensive is it, but you were trying to really explain why you did what you did. And it was just, to me, it was more she took a weaker moment and put it out there, but it wasn't really out of context per se. I think it's just, look, you can go watch the whole thing. It's like, forget about context. The whole thing in its full context is there on her channel. You can go watch it and say what you think. See what everybody thinks. And, most people I know, the people I know who've seen the whole thing, thought that she destroyed you. She bulldozed you. I was one of the people defending you, saying like, I mean, if anybody won, it was her, but you were more defensive than I expected you to be. I don't know if that was like a gentleman thing, like you didn't want to get into it with a woman or what. I don't think you got beat or got flattened. Some people apparently did, but you certainly didn't win. If anybody won, it was her. So.
Now, what are you going to watch? The 1 minute and 30-second clip that says, here's what happened on the show? Or are you going to go, oh, you know what? This sounds like bullshit to me. I think I'll watch the whole 2 hours.
Well, look, man, everybody watches highlights. I get that shit. And people are going to take shit out of context. I get that, name of the game. But you got 1 minute, 30 seconds. A minute, 90 seconds, like, is enough. If you're being just a fucking idiot, that's going to show in a lot less than 90 seconds. Okay. It's not about context. And if you're, not being an idiot, they're not going to make you look retarded in just 90 seconds. That you might, so most people aren't going to spend, most people aren't even going to spend 90 seconds, but people who are interested, if you're holding a good account for yourself, making a good account for yourself, people are going to see that and either take your side or be unsure or be interested enough to go and see the whole thing. Like I think people did with the Michaela thing. Like, I went and I watched like 40 minutes of it before I couldn't take anymore. So there will be people. So, don't say that nobody cares. The narratives will always get started that way. But, and I get that people are looking for the soundbite, but it's not the be all and end all. It's like what I heard about this guy who did reality TV was talking about like the editing. So everybody who looks bad in reality and TV, they always blame the editing. And this is a guy, now he's biased because he makes reality TV shows, but he's saying there's no way for me to make you look like an asshole if you're not. Like, okay. There could be like, if that's not the way you're behaving, there's no editing to do it. So, and I know that they do a lot of shit there, but I think it's an exaggeration, but I think there's at least something to it.
I've got 2 hours to kill. Let's watch the whole thing.
Well, there's people like that, Rollo, because they watch your fucking podcast, which is like almost 5 hours every week. And I don't even know. I don't even want to know what the people who do that are doing in the rest of their time. But don't tell me that there's people out there with a shortage of time. There's people with a shortage of patience. But everybody's willing to put some bullshit in the background while they do something else. That's the whole planet now.
Why is it that people in this show, by the way, are going to say, Rollo, where's the time cues? I ain't got no time for a 2 hour and 50-minute video. It's going to be 3. I don't have time for 3 hours video. Just give me the highlights clip. Well, guess what? That highlights clip is the fucking clip. That's why. So when
What?
and Preach go at Fresh and Fit, What do? They pull that one little clip of
I see what he's saying. Okay, I get it. I get what he's saying.
Well, I want to own a woman's soul. When it comes to genuine desire. Now, I try to explain that, but people don't have patience for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I see what he's saying now. Okay. He's saying that because we're in this viral culture, you have to be more careful about choosing your words because stuff is going to be picked out. So if like you're saying something like if you don't necessarily mean anything nefarious per se, when you talk about the example he gave was saying own a woman's soul. Nobody's got the time or interest. Well, time, yes. Interest, no. In listening to the nuances of what you mean. They're just going to take the way it sounds and then go off of that because you're just giving them easy an easy target or whatever. So what he's saying is true. He's absolutely correct. I mean, everything you can pretty much ignore the stuff that I just said for these last 5-10 minutes because he's right.
Nobody got time to watch the Brittany Renner show with Fresh and Fit. Ain't nobody got time for Flagrant. They just want the highlight clip. It's like fucking Sports Center, man. Just show me the highlights. Show me the dunk. And then I'll move on to the next dunk. And I'll move on to the next field goal or touchdown or goal or whatever. Hopefully the freaking Golden Knights get into the playoffs.
Who did he say? The Golden Knights? Who's that?
Yeah, Ethan. Well. So you know why Ethan doesn't want me on the show? It's
because you're a fucking nobody, and you're just going to be annoying the hell out of people, and his listeners aren't going to like it, and that's pretty much it. That's why.
I ain't going to give you that fucking 30 seconds that you're looking for.
Are you kidding? You gave it to Michaela Peterson, and Ethan's way more ready for it than she was.
Which is why you want fucking Fresh on there.
I mean, come on. We all know Fresh isn't going to say anything, so get out of here.
Odds are that if I'm on there with Myron and Fresh is on there with Myron, you're probably not going to get that 1 minute, 30-second clip that you want to pull out so that you can make yourself look like a fucking hero and make us look like idiots.
No, dude, all he's got to do to make you look like idiots is play a minute and a half of you talking.
That's why. Because ain't nobody got time for that.
Dude, Rollo. Rollo. You're not black. I mean, so, and this is, what like they try to do. They try to say like, no. It's like I'm talking like a black guy, ironically. Like I get it. I'm not black, so I'm saying like, oh, ain't nobody got time for that. And like, but it's funny because I'm white and I'm not black and do it. But like, because you what you do, you want to talk like a black guy. I get it. You want to talk like a black guy, but you can't do it seriously because even you wouldn't be able to look yourself in the mirror because it would just be so cringe. So you say like, oh no, I'm doing it ironically. You're doing it ironically, seriously. And, I mean, like that's some like, and I mean, I guess that's like I said, he's a little older. He's 53. So more of I know he's not really a boomer, but it's a very Gen X-y type thing to do. Not that I haven't seen millennials do it though.
And that's the marketing plan. And it's exactly what I've been talking about this entire fucking show. Like I pulled that right in. That's awesome. Exactly what I was saying. It's curating that image, curating those pictures, curating those little snippets of video. Nobody's going to watch it 2 hours. Shit, no, barely anybody. How many people got now? Got 1,600 people. Thank you for watching. Thank you for saying. You know what? I really appreciate you for sticking around this entire thing. Right? But you know what? As soon as this video is over and it goes into my archive, you know what the average watch time is going to be? 28 minutes.
Dude, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, I think the average time on like my video is like 2 minutes or something.
And even then, it's going to be because I put in like chapter markers and here's what he talked about that. And by the way, I do that for every one of these. Actually, I don't do it. I have a guy, Eduardo. Thank you, Eduardo, for being such a trooper with me, and I do pay him. But I always do those clips. Not immediately, because he actually has to watch the whole thing and clip these things up. So please, and I know, God damn it, just by me like saying this is what's going to happen. In the comments, going to be, where's my time cues? I ain't got time for this. I'll guarantee you that's the first, like within the first 4 comments. Once I hit stop end broadcast, that's what you're going to say. All right? Because ain't nobody got time for that. And that's why guys like they get all bent out of shape and they try to yuck it up. No, the reason when you make fun of me, the reason you want to like be fucking middle school bullshit. It's because I'd fucking wipe the floor with you.
What? Middle school bullshit. A guy who's in his 50s talking about hypergamy every week is accusing other people of immaturity.
I would fucking destroy you when it comes to any kind of, and even Myron will probably, I don't even have to be there really. Myron will probably wipe the floor with you.
What? Have you seen Myron debate? I mean, he was struggling with the Flagrant dude, Flagrant, and who's the other guy? The Flagrant 2. He was struggling with them, and those guys were idiots. I mean, Ethan is. I mean, look. I mean, I don't like him either, but he's pretty smart. Way smarter than Myron.
But the fact is that you still want Fresh on there because the odds are the Fresh is going to say "own your soul," and that's going to be the clip that you throw out. That's why. That's the new marketing plan. Somebody watches. You want to know why shorts are more popular? If you go and you look at my shorts or eat my shorts, you want to go and look at
Well, I mean, let's say that that's true, and I think that there's something to it. Basically, unless Ethan's going to get that viral 90 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, there's what's in it for him to have a bunch of red pill morons on his show. He's got a successful podcast. He himself doesn't care about the red pill. I mean, if he's not going to get that viral clip out of it, why should he do it? I mean, you heard him talking about it. He obviously doesn't care. I mean, it's purely for him getting that. Any interest he had in it is just, is like you said, to get that 30-second, 90-second, whatever viral clip. And if that's the case, really, that he's not going to get it without Fresh being there, then why should Ethan do it? It's not nothing to do with being afraid of anything.
Rich Cooper shorts are great, man. You go and look at his short clips.
No, they're not. They're fucking horrible. What? I mean, how could you say that? Rich Cooper's stuff is horrendous. It's awful. What are you talking about?
He's like 75,000, 120,000 views because it's 45 seconds.
Yeah, Casey's doing a lot of that now, and it's like, I don't know if it's working or not, but it's like, it's like everybody wants stuff in a bite-sized way, and then maybe you get some viewers to stick around longer. But I don't know, man. Look, if it works, it works. I think I don't like it, but I'm older, so I might just be from a different time.
People have time for that. But if you say, oh, the Michaela Peterson interview between Rollo Tomasi and Michaela is this, and I only have to spend 30 seconds to figure it out, fuck yeah, I'm going to watch that. And
dude, how fucking trigger are you about this Michaela thing? I mean, it was like over a month ago, right? I mean, everybody's forgotten about it, and you're still harping on it.
What you're going to form your opinion based on whoever you like best. And it could be me, or it could be her. Right? I don't do shit like that. I'll put up, what I think are like salient points in my shorts. But I don't try to say, oh, I had such and such. I had this son of a bitch on my show, and watch me own him in this 30-second clip right here. You got time for that, right? Yeah? Oh, good. Subscribe. Buy my Gum Road course. Do this. Whatever. Buy my merch.
I mean, I think it's because, but it's not like a moral thing. It's that that's just not the way you debate and discuss things. You're overly wordy. I'm the same way. But again, for me, it's more of being inarticulate. For you, it's just just not being that smart. It's being a midwit. And so you have for me, I'm struggling to get to the point. You have no point to get to. And he's so no, you don't think I would do 30-second clips if I could say anything, if I could get my any point I was trying to make done in 30 or 45 seconds? Of course I would. But I can't. Like, for me, a short video is 7 minutes. And that's the same thing it is with you, because you can't do anything else than that. But I mean, it's not like you're some hero any more than I am. Oops.
That's how it works. That's where we're at right now. And it works for girls who are trying to convince you that, there's women on the front line down in the trenches, while they're doing TikTok videos and down, hey, here come the Russians. And it goes for Ethan as well. Like, that's how we're marketing right now. What's the perception? Well, how do I curate that? How do I get the most bang for the 30 seconds I have your attention? Dude,
we got it 20 minutes ago. Are you still talking about this?
That's why you want Fresh. That's why you don't want me on there, because you're not looking for a logical. You're not looking to have your mind change.
Okay, no, okay, we're done. That's enough. That's enough. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.